everybody, and welcome back to the kitchen. Today I have another recipe from my grandmother's cookbook. This is lemon meringue pie. Before we get started, you have to understand that I have never made a lemon meringue pie in my life, nor have I made a pie of any kind in decades. I like lemon pie, or lemon flavored anything really. I think people believe that there is a complexity behind making pie. There is a mystique that makes pie intimidating. But I looked at the recipe this morning, and sure, there are three parts. You have the crust, the filling, and the meringue. But taken individually, each step doesn't seem that complicated to me. So I'm going to take that approach, and I invite you to come along with me on this lemon meringue pie journey. There are very few ingredients to a pie crust, or at least the pie crust in my grandmother's cookbook. There is flour, salt, shortening, and ice water. I'm going to be using a food processor to make this pie crust. Now, I know my grandmother didn't have one, but I do, and I think it'll be the easiest method. I believe that one of the keys to success in a good pie crust is to keep the ingredients cool. And the food processor will help me in that regard because it's very fast. Another thing that I'm doing is using lard instead of shortening, just because I heard somewhere along the line that lard makes a better pie crust. And I have the pre-measured lard in the freezer to, again, help keep things cool. In the interest of keeping the dough cool, let's get right into this and get these ingredients together as fast as possible. 1 cup of flour, half a teaspoon salt. And I just want to give this a pre-mix to distribute the salt and the flour evenly. Now I will be adding the 1/3 cup of frozen lard. I will pulse this until crumbly, or maybe I should just, I don't know. I don't know if I should pulse this or just throw it on high and see what happens, but I think the crumbly part is important. I'm getting impatient here. I was worried if I didn't pulse the flour, salt, and lard mixture that it would just form into a dough, but I don't think that there is enough liquid in here yet. So it was okay to just turn it on full speed and let it go. I want to pull the dry ingredients that are stuck to the sides and the bottom into the rest of the ingredients. Again, I don't want to do this too long because I'm worried that the lard will heat up by mixing it. That's my crumbly lard, flour, and salt mixture. I'm going to add just enough ice water until this forms a dough. It said 3 to 4 tablespoons in the recipe. In case you don't know, 4 tablespoons is a 1/4 cup. I'll start out adding 2 tablespoons. I still have dry flour on the bottom. I'm going to add another tablespoon. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, there's about ½ a tablespoon left in here, but I think this is fine. To put the dough on a piece of plastic wrap, I'm going to flatten it into a disc and put it in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes. This is my disc-shaped pie crust dough. This is the end of part 1. See you in 30 minutes for the next steps. My pie dough has been in the refrigerator for just a little over 30 minutes now. Hopefully it has cooled to the point where I can turn it into a nice flattened crust. I'm using a silicone mat that is made for rolling out dough. It's extra grippy so it won't slide around the countertop. There are markings that help me measure both across and down, and also a circular measurement for pie crust. I'm going to lay down a piece of parchment paper on top of this silicone mat, but you can still see the measurements underneath it. I'm going to add a little flour to the rolling pin to help keep it from sticking to the dough. And then just roll in every direction to hopefully get the same thickness as the dough expands into a circular crust. This is going to be a thin crust, so it's just not that much dough here. This should be large enough. I've got this beautiful pie plate that I don't know if I've ever used it, but we're using it today. So I'm flipping this on top of my crust, try to get it in the center. And then I'm going to flip the whole thing over, I hope. This out of here. Okay, looking good so far. I don't have a lot of pinching room here, so I don't know. I think I could have used more dough for my crust. This isn't going as well as I hoped, but it's all just part of it, right? And when we're eating it, nobody will complain. The whole thing will be covered in meringue. You won't even be able to see the crust. So probably worried about nothing here. I'm going to place this crust back in the refrigerator for another 15 minutes just to cool things down again. After that, I will put it in a 500-degree oven for 12 minutes, give or take. And I should say that I have a pizza steel in there just to make sure that I get an even brown on the bottom of the crust. You could use a cookie sheet if you don't have a pizza steel or a pizza stone, something like that, or don't use anything and not worry about it. But I'm just telling you what I'm doing. What a day, what a day, what a day. This has not gone well. The details in the recipe could have been a little more specific. I'll tell you what I've been going through. I made 3 crusts. The first one, there were 2 problems. Number 1, this beautiful pie plate that I was so happy to use was too large for the recipe at hand, and I should have used pie weights or something because I made like a hat-shaped crust. So that was no good. I switched to a smaller pie plate, not nearly as beautiful, but smaller. And the dough seemed to fit better, so on the right track. I didn't have pie weights. I don't own pie weights. So I tried using dried beans. And I didn't know how many dried beans to use. I basically filled the pie with dried beans. And that worked okay, except that I did not put any sort of barrier between the beans and the dough. And so the top layer of beans poured off easily, but the bottom layer of beans was kind of embedded into the crust. I had to pick each bean out individually, and then it was kind of a doughy bottom, and I put it back in the oven for too long, ended up with this burned crust that was awful. I tried scraping the burned parts off like you would with burned toast, but that did not go well. There was a hole in the crust after doing that. And so I thought, well, time for crust number 3. I used the same size of pie plate as crust number 2. I knew we'd be okay from the amount of dough. Actually, I wouldn't have minded just a little bit more dough, but I knew we'd be okay. Then I cut a piece of parchment paper, put that in the bottom, and put in like 2 layers of dried beans and baked it. And the edges got a little bit brown, which I think is what you want. And then I took the crust out of the oven. I took all the beans out, took the parchment paper out, put foil around the edges, and put it back in because the bottom wasn't done yet. I put it in for 2 minutes, checked it, put it in for another 2 minutes, and this is what we came up with. I think this looks pretty good. I actually don't know how brown the crust is supposed to be on the bottom, but I think you want it to be kind of done. And this looks done. You could eat this. And we're back. In case you haven't noticed, I have changed clothes. And that is because the first lemon meringue pie was a disaster. Not only did I have to make 3 different crusts before I got one right, but the filling never set and the meringue didn't poof up to my satisfaction. I ended up throwing the whole thing away, and now I'm starting over. I am not giving up on this pie. Behold, we have 3 eggs before us, and I need to separate the eggs from the yolks using this handy yolk separator. I think you never truly appreciate how disgusting eggs are until you separate the yolks. Well, that didn't go as planned. I mean, look at this thing. This is going to turn into a tasty dessert topping. We'll set aside the egg whites for now because they are going into the meringue. One of these things is not like the others. This is the lemon that I bought on the first day I made pie. It's big, it's beautiful, and these are what I had to choose from today. Same store. The recipe calls for lemon zest from half of a lemon. I'll be using this lemon because it's the prettiest. The best way to get lemon zest from a lemon is a microplaner. At least it's the best method I know. When you're taking the zest from a lemon, you just barely want to scrape it across the surface. You want to get the shiny part off. That smells wonderful. It adds so much flavor. But directly underneath is the peel. It tastes bitter and nasty. It will ruin your dessert. Don't go too deep with the lemon. This is what my zest looks like. I would like to chop it up with a knife just a little bit more. I don't like long strips of zest in my dessert, but boy, does it add flavor. The recipe calls for 1/2 cup plus 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. It also says the juice of 2 lemons. I'll start off with this one, but I'm sure I'll need at least 1 or more of these little guys. To make the juice flow nice and easy, it's good to roll the lemon first. It also makes your countertop smell wonderful. You can just squeeze the lemons, but this also filters the seeds out. I might as well just juice all of these things. Okay, 1/2 cup. And 1 tablespoon. To cut this lemon zest, I could just use a regular knife, or I could use my ulu knife. And I'm going to use the ulu because ulu is fun. The ulu is fast and fun and turns anything into a fine mince very quickly. The recipe calls for a double boiler. I do not have a double boiler. What I do have is a pot full of water that I'm going to bring to a boil and a bowl that fits into the top of the pot. Good enough. Now to mix the filling. 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 5 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 1/2 cups of sugar. Whenever I have a mixture of dry ingredients, I like to whisk it just to make sure they're combined evenly. While I was waiting for the water to boil, I made a tasty homemade lemonade. To make tasty lemonade, use equal parts lemon juice and sugar, add water to taste, stir, top with ice. 2 1/4 cup of boiling water. Go ahead and place this on my makeshift double boiler. And we'll get this going. This is supposed to cook and thicken for about 15 minutes. I'm going to set the timer this time. I think this is where I went wrong last time. It says in the recipe that it takes about 15 minutes to thicken. I didn't set a timer. I didn't know what to expect, and I think I just took it off too soon. Just to recap, all I have in here is flour, cornstarch, salt, sugar, and boiling water. You do not want to add the eggs yet because the eggs will actually prevent it from thickening. I am starting to feel a little bit of resistance, but we still have almost 7 minutes on the timer. As happy as I am to have my grandmother's cookbook, it actually was not my grandmother that taught me how to cook. It was mostly my mother and then Betty Crocker and America's Test Kitchen, but lately YouTube. There is less than a minute on the timer, and honestly, I cannot tell if this is thick enough. It's thicker, but how do you know? I'm just going to trust the timer, I guess, but I don't know. I expected more of a dramatic difference than the last time I made this. I'm not seeing it. Okay, I'm just going to leave this on the boiler for now. It says to use 3 slightly beaten yolks. It doesn't say what to do with the egg yolks. I'm just going to drizzle and stir because I don't want hunks of egg in my pie. Then it says to cook 2 minutes longer. I'm going to set a timer. One of the unfortunate aspects of leaving the lemon products out until the end is no alluring aroma while you're cooking. Right now it smells a little like paste. This feels like the longest 2 minutes of my life. There we go. I've got a teaspoon of butter. I don't think I've ever put a teaspoon of butter into any recipe. What an odd measurement. I mean, usually it's a tablespoon, but not in this case, it's a teaspoon. And now the lemon juice. This doesn't look like a lot of lemon zest, but remember I minced it really thin and it said to use about half of what I have. So we'll do that. And now this has to cool before I put it in the pie shell. There are no guidelines in my grandmother's recipe for how long to let this cool before I put it into the pie shell. I consulted the collective wisdom of the internet and they suggest 2 hours. I did not wait nearly that long the first time I made pie, but okay. About 3 hours have passed since I made the filling. It has cooled to room temperature, so I am ready to make the meringue. The recipe calls for 6 tablespoons of sugar, 3 egg whites, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. 6 tablespoons of sugar, 3 egg whites, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. My wife said I should be using a hand mixer for this. I hope it doesn't come to that, but if this doesn't work out, I'll get that out. I think that looks okay. I probably would ideally like more meringue, but maybe I'll go with this. Oh, this is the pie shell that I made yesterday, the 4th pie shell in this series of a single pie. Pour the filling into the pie shell. There is a lot of filling here. I think there's more filling than I need. I think the pie could use double this amount of meringue and maybe a 1/3 less filling, but we'll work with what we have. Oh, what a mess. I don't think I'll be entering this into the county fair. And by spreading the meringue, I'm making the filling overflow the shell. But maybe meringue is the patchwork of pies. So you can cover up a lot of errors with this. I'm trying to make fancy swirls here, but maybe that's for another time. We'll go with this. I'm going to stick this in the oven at 300 degrees for, I think, what was it, 20 minutes? 15 to 20 minutes, just to brown the meringue, and then we'll have to wait for 3 hours for this thing to cool. So the one thing that I've learned with this lemon meringue pie process is you're not making a pie for today. This is a tomorrow pie at best. At long last, the pie is almost done. I just pulled it out of the oven. It looks beautiful, but it has to set, and I need to let it set at room temperature for a little bit and then put it in the refrigerator for at least 3 hours. And since I don't plan to try this pie at midnight, I will check on it tomorrow morning. But so far it looks good. I'm excited. I think I'm on the right path. So I will see you tomorrow. It has been a long road to lemon meringue pie, but I think I've got it. I took this out of the refrigerator today, and look at this. Hardly any wobble. I mean, compared to the last one, I could eat that thing with a straw. This one actually looks good. I'm going to attempt to slice it and put a slice on this plate. Now, of course, the first slice is going to be a disaster, but hopefully the second slice will be beautiful. So let's just give this a try. Okay, I'm still feeling some crunch in this crust, so hopefully it hasn't gotten all soggy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm losing confidence in my filling here, but I will try. I don't know. I might have to put this in a bowl. I don't know what to do. If this doesn't work, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I might have to consult some help. Yeah, it's all okay. That's a mess. That is definitely a mess. And where I took the piece out, it just filled in with residual filling. So what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I don't know. I at least have to taste it though. It has a good flavor, it just didn't set. I don't know what to do. I mean, I hate to give up. I put so much work into this. You know how many hours I put into making these videos and making this pie? How many hours I put getting to this point and it still didn't work? I think there's going to have to be a part 2 to this. It's good. The crust is good. The crust is still crisp, even though my filling is a drink. The meringue is good. I baked this for, I don't know, 22 minutes or something like that. All right, I'm gonna have to, I'm not letting all this footage go to waste. I'm definitely putting this out. I am not giving up. This is not goodbye. This is until next time. It's good. It's good. It's just, just not what I was going for. Cut. I have to admit that this recipe has given me far more trouble than I expected. I was on the verge of giving up several times. I made, I don't know how many crusts, 4 or 5. I got to the point where I said, okay, I'm done making crusts. I know how to do that. I'm just going to buy them while I figure out what else is going on. It turns out I had the most trouble with the filling. I could not get a firm filling. I don't know what magical conditions were in my grandmother's kitchen, but I could not replicate them here. I did, well, there's one difference. I did not have a real double boiler, and I'm sure that she did. Maybe a real double boiler is what's necessary. What I ended up doing was just using a nonstick skillet to prepare the filling, and that firmed up right away. It was beautiful. I think I just wasn't achieving a high enough temperature with my pseudo double boiler. So lesson learned there. I also contacted my aunt who made pies with my grandmother, and she said that my grandmother didn't add the sugar to the egg whites for the meringue until she saw some peaks on the egg whites. I hadn't been doing that. I did that with this one. Did it go better? I don't know, I guess. Seemed to work out okay regardless, so I will continue to do that. I have gone through so many lemons, and I've spent close to 2 weeks on this lemon meringue pie project. I am so ready for it to be done. This is the result of my latest and greatest effort. I am ready to cut this and serve this and hopefully enjoy this with a fork and not a straw. The moment of truth. Meringue's a little sticky. All right. Oh no. I don't think I pre-baked this pie crust. If that's all it is, I'm going to give myself a pass. I should have pre-baked the pie crust. I forgot something. All right, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I just want the filling to be good. Of course, the first piece is always a challenge. I think I might have gone through the foil here. Yes, a foil pie pan. This is what it's come down to. Okay, well, it did fall apart, which is expected, but the filling is intact. That'll do. Look, nothing's leaking out. Well, very little. A little bit's leaking out. But that's not bad. This piece. It's kind of an abomination, but let's taste it. I've got some meringue here, some filling, and the crust. Here it goes. The filling is perfect. It's delicious. It's the right consistency. The meringue, could it be poofier? Sure. Could it be browned more? If you like. But it's delicious. The crust, could it be baked? Sure. It's not like I had to bake the whole pie for 20 minutes or whatever. So it's not like it's never seen the oven. But when it's full of so much stuff, a little pre-baking probably would have been better. But this is fine. If someone served me this pie, I wouldn't complain. Unless my sister served it. Of course. I declare the lemon meringue project to be complete. I learned a lot. I will continue to improve on my technique, but I think I'm happy with this. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something too. Thanks for stopping by.